Mitsuki, one of my most favorite characters in the entire franchise. I love Mitsuki. Ever since I read that one shot where he was able to speed blitz Orochimaru and even bypass a barrier spell just by flexing his chakra, this dude was amazing. The form, the design, everything about it is one of the best designs in the entire franchise. And then we get to the actual manga where we hope to see Mitsuki use this form at some point in time, but it just never happened. And then we get the explanation for this, and it's because Orochimaru doesn't want him to expose the fact that he has that power. So we had to wait and wait until Mitsuki finally decided to use it against Momoshiki and Kinshiki during the Chunin exams, but he was stopped mid-transformation, and you think this would be an upsetting moment for Mitsuki fans, but Urashiki Otsutsuki, seeing Mitsuki's power as so dangerous to them that he needed to stop him before he could transform, was all the gas we needed to glaze Mitsuki. Everyone thought that Mitsuki had this secret revolutionary power that we haven't seen before, something different, something unique. And then we finally get to see that power in action at the end of part 1 with Mitsuki using this power to fight Boruto. But the strangest thing happened, and this is where things kinda shifted to a sense of disappointment. Because similar to Sarada, Mitsuki hasn't really been present in the manga a lot. It has been focused on Boruto, Kawaki, Naruto, Sasuke, and Delta and the other characters, and then later on with the cyborgs. Mitsuki doesn't have much time to shine when it comes to the manga. So when we finally saw Mitsuki use that Sage Mode in the manga, we thought we were going to see something spectacular, something unique. And then the fight happened, and all he did was pop some snakes from underground and got left in the dust by base Boruto. Yes, base Boruto that was badly damaged and just had a fight with Kawaki was able to outspeed Mitsuki to get away from him somehow, even though Mitsuki was fully healthy and at full power. So at that point we were like, okay, cool. Mitsuki in Sage Mode clearly isn't that strong. I mean, base Boruto is able to react to his attacks and dodge him pretty easily and able to outrun him. So apparently this form isn't that great. Or maybe Mitsuki simply hasn't mastered the form because he hasn't had time to really use it. So as fans, of course, we started to come up with multiple excuses about why the first showing of this form wasn't that great, and we hoped that the next time we see Mitsuki, then it's going to be something special. Fast forward to TBV, and we get Mitsuki again fighting Boruto, and it was at that moment that we realized that Mitsuki was never going to get a fair shake, because of course, Boruto is the main character. Obviously, Mitsuki wasn't going to win, much less dominate Boruto, but we hoped that Mitsuki would actually put up a fight, show some relativity, show that he's not father, at least force Boruto to use the Karma Seal. That, of course, did not happen. Mitsuki was washed by Boruto. It was embarrassing to watch or read. Bro was getting blitzed left, right, center, up, down, diagonally, vertically, horizontally, I don't know, any direction you want to put it in. He was getting blitzed in every direction possible. His Sage Enhanced clones were getting one-tapped, his attacks were getting dodged, he was getting blitzed. He couldn't land a single hit, a single bruise, a single scratch on Boruto's body. And the craziest part is that Boruto was literally mocking this dude the entire time. Because Mitsuki pulled up saying that he understands Boruto's power level and he can't afford to let Kawaki fight him, and Boruto just replied saying, well, if he doesn't stand a chance against me, you definitely won't because you're absolute garbage, you're fodder, you're trash. What are you doing here? It was so crazy reading this because I'm like, is Boruto bluffing here? Is he mistaken? Is Mitsuki holding back something that we haven't seen here? What exactly is happening? But no, Boruto accurately assessed the situation. He saw that Mitsuki was absolute trash and he had nothing to worry about. And the most annoying part about it is that Mitsuki hasn't grown in any way. He's using the same attacks, the same snakes to wrap around the target and then try to attack them, the same snakes from underground, the same abilities, the same lightning strikes. He has nothing new, nothing special to show us. Of course, he hasn't used the Sage clones before, but that's not special. Naruto had Sage clones, Hashirama had Sage clones, so it's not special in any way. And then we get to the Sand Village. We saw that Mitsuki was going on a mission to face a Shinju, and this time we thought for sure that he was gonna show us something special. He's gonna be useful. This is going to be Mitsuki's time to shine after getting no diffed by Boruto. This is his moment. And we get to the Sand Village, and he's literally just a support character there to support Sarada. This was Sarada's moment. And you'd think that this would be Mitsuki's because Mitsuki had that relation to Shinki. They had that dynamic where Shinki was interested in his power and Mitsuki was interested in Shinki. They didn't get to finish their fight because Mitsuki couldn't use his Sage mode in the tournament, so he had to concede. But there was that underlying dynamic there that we wanted to see expounded upon here because this is Shinki's Shinju clone. But no, for some reason this moment was given to Sarada despite the fact that she already has Hidori, her opponent, to fight, which she's going to have to battle again. So of course this relegates Mitsuki to a background support character that was there to fight the random claw grimes and barely interact with the actual villain of the arc. And when he did interact with Ryu, he did the same things over and over again, the same strategy. Wrap the snake around his body, then try to attack him with more snakes, then pull the snakes from the ground. It's rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. The same things over and over and over. There is never a moment during that entire fight where you're like, yeah, Mitsuki, this is so great, this is awesome. It just never happens. And it's so funny because it was established that the weakness to Shinki's Iron Sand is lightning. Lightning release is the weakness. But then we get to the fight itself and Mitsuki never once uses his lightning release. Never once. And it's so funny because when going into the fight, everyone was on Twitter saying, yeah, yo, Mitsuki is the perfect counter to Ryu's Sand and he's gonna be very useful in this arc. This is where he gets to shine. And of course, Sarada also has a lightning power in Chidori and she would be useful here as well, but it should have been Mitsuki's time to display his usefulness and his prowess because Sarada has already gotten that chance before with Hidori and she was going to get that chance again. So why did they take that moment from Mitsuki and give it to Sarada? And then of course we fast forward to the fight with Mamushi and what happens again? The moment is given to Sarada and Mitsuki's just there in the background fighting random Mamushi clones and he's barely even shown on panel. This entire time they barely show him the entire arc. He's just standing there not doing anything. The writer doesn't have any time for him. And then when you get to the actual fight, while the important characters like Boruto, Sarada, Damon, etc. gets their shine to show them destroying multiple Mamushi, even Kawaki gets his shine, Mitsuki is just not there. They show him once and they only show him killing 2 Mamushi clones. 2 Mamushi clones. That's all they show of him. At this point, if I'm being honest, Mitsuki isn't being treated as a part of the main cast, as a part of Team 7, the main group of the story. For some reason, he has been relegated to 10-10 level when it comes to screen time. And I don't see it getting any better because the only connection they could have formed with one of the villains when it comes to Mitsuki was Ryu. They already did the connection with Konohamaru and Matsuri. They have the connection with Sarada and Hidori. And they have Boruto's connection to Jura and Kawaki's connection to Jura as well. And we have Ada and Damon's connection to Mamushi. Mitsuki is the only one who didn't get that connection to a villain, that narrative purpose within the story, that arc that he needed to complete. Every single one of the other important characters got their moment. And Mitsuki's only moment this entire time was getting no diffed by Boruto and of course focusing on the sun and moon dynamic between them, which of course also has been tabled. And now there's only Jura and Hidori and Mitsuki has no narrative connection between those 2 characters. So of course again, he will be relegated to a support character in the background that fires 2 attacks while the other characters do most of the work. That has been Mitsuki's fate this entire time, ever since the start of this manga, to be honest, and that is why, even though I have issues with the anime, you have to love it because Mitsuki actually gets to be a character in the anime. He gets to have a purpose even outside of Boruto. That's what the entire Mitsuki retrieval arc was about. You know, him finding himself and discovering what it means to be human, what it means to love, and his actual feelings towards the village and the people around him. And we also get to see the Sage Mode a couple of times, and every single time it was glorious. The form was awesome. You can feel the power from it. But then when you switch to the manga, he's treated like a second-class citizen. That's pretty much what it is, which is very unfortunate. And I know you guys have seen me shitting on Mitsuki for the past few months. I've done, posts where I remove him from Team 7 and, I've done commentary in my videos where I make fun of him. But you have to understand that I'm doing this because I'm disappointed, I'm sad, and I'm upset. Because Mitsuki was my favorite character. If you guys have been following this channel for years, I've made so many videos glazing Mitsuki, talking about his connection to the Ten Tails and the seed that sprouted his being and his powers that might be Otsutsuki related. We all know about the Teneri connection theories, which might or might not be true. I guess we'll see. But I've made so many videos talking about the potential this character has. He has Snake Sage Mode. This is unprecedented. The only one we've seen so far is from Kabuto. He's the one that truly mastered it, and he was able to unlock abilities like inorganic reanimation, where he's able to control the environments and do other crazy stuff. And they don't need to mimic that. Of course, they could give him that power, but give him something unique that we haven't seen before. Because different Sage users do have different powers. We've seen that throughout the entire series. But at this point, no effort is made to make him stand out, to make him feel special within the grand scheme of the story. It's like Ikimoto just doesn't care, And it's very unfortunate. I try not to harp on the negatives and just keep it positive, but at some point we have to, keep it real and, give it to you guys real. And that is what I'm doing today. So I know some Twitter users gonna get upset about this and share it on Twitter about this guy just hates Boruto or whatever, but you guys get where I'm coming from, and hopefully I explained myself clearly. But yeah, with that said, that is it for the video. If you guys liked it, drop a like if you're new, subscribe, and also consider becoming a member to support the channel. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.